can't tell who done it. I can tell you who wanted it, and it will most definitely be Clive.
For years, people thought they understood the power structure. They thought Diddy was at the top. They were wrong.
Will Diddy start snitching?
He better. But the only thing I'm interested in him talking about is everything he knows about Kathy Corian.
But here's what nobody is connecting yet. Clive Davis is gone, and now something is happening to Diddy inside those prison walls that might expose everything.
I can tell you who wanted it, and it will most definitely be Clive Davis.
So you think Clive is looking for...
Oh, I know.
What Jaguar Wright is about to reveal changes everything. Stay with me. For decades, there was a man music nobody really talked about. His name was Clive Davis, and if you didn't understand who he was and what he built, you couldn't understand anything else happening in this story. Clive wasn't just a record executive, he was the architect. She couldn't control her own narrative. She was his creation, his property, his masterpiece.
Something that only occurred after my second marriage failed. So for the first time, having failed in marriage twice, not related at all to sex, I opened myself up to the possibility of having a relationship with a person rather than a gender.
This admission in 2013 wasn't just about Clive coming out. It was the first crack in a system that had stayed hidden for 50 years, and it raised a question that nobody wanted to ask out loud. If Clive could hide that part of his life for so long, what else had he been hiding?
In 1993, Puffy was fired from Uptown Records, and he started Bad Boy Entertainment, but he needed the money. Clive Davis, head of Arista Records, saw the potential and went 50-50 joint venture.
The rumors never stopped there. People close to the industry started talking about what those meetings really were. One paparazzi photographer actually walked up to Clive and asked him directly about his connection to Diddy.
Curious about the status of P. Diddy.
Status of what?
P. Diddy. Diddy. What do you make of that situation? No
Comment, that's all Clive said, and that silence meant something. Because in this industry, when someone at the top doesn't answer a question, it's because the answer would change everything. Diddy didn't invent this system. He was music trained by it away from cameras, and sometimes, according to whispers in the industry, they were caught on tape without either man fully realizing it. Those tapes exist somewhere, and if they ever come out, they would explain everything. But the relationship between Clive and Diddy wasn't just professional. The rumors that circulated through the industry suggested something deeper, something personal, something that, if confirmed, would explain why these two men were so close for so long. And here's where the story starts to shift. Clive Davis didn't just mentor one person. Alicia Keys, Usher, Kevin Campbell, each one of them entered the industry young, talented, and hungry. And each one of them passed through Clive's world and came out different. The system worked like this. Take a young artist, give them access to the right people, open doors they could never open on their own. And in exchange, they belong to you, still unable to make her own choices. And then, just days before she died, something happened between Whitney and Clive that changed music, everything. 2 days, that's the window. A fight between Whitney and Clive on one day, Whitney Houston dead in that hotel room on the next. But here's what people keep asking. If Whitney's lungs were that damaged, how did she die from a cocaine and alcohol overdose just 2 days after fighting with the man who controlled every aspect of her life? And why has nobody ever deeply examined that timeline? People online have never stopped asking about that sequence of events, and they've never stopped wondering if the official cause of death told the whole story. When they did her autopsy, they said there was nothing wrong with her throat. Her lungs were so damaged music that she couldn't fuel the notes. This is the control system. This is what Clive built, and everyone in it knew the music rules. You do what I say, you stay quiet, and if you try to leave, if you try to tell your story, there are consequences. She came from Howard University. She had her own PR consulting firm. She was rubbing shoulders with celebrities and A-listers every single day. He sent her on an international tour. She had to use auto-tune to sing because her lungs were so jacked up from all the smoking. She smoked 3 packs of Newports a day and still could sing like that. That night in Vegas happened. The pictures proved it. Jay-Z and Kathy White together, Diddy there, a model named Karine Steffens there, everything playing out like a scene from a movie. But then something happened that nobody expected. An editor from Star magazine reached out to Kathy to get her side of the story. She was ready to go public. She was ready to talk about her relationship with Jay-Z. She was ready to expose what had been happening behind closed doors. And then within days, Kathy White was dead. Their evening was said to be music, filled with gambling, clubbing, drinking, and a lot of PDA. We know Beyonce Tilda copyright and Jay-Z had been married since 2008. Music, but Beyonce Tilda copyright was nowhere to be seen at this evening out. The timing is insane. The announcement of Beyonce Tilda copyright's pregnancy, August 28th at the VMAs, Kathy White dead September 1st, 4 days apart. The official cause was listed as a brain aneurysm, but her autopsy was never released. Her toxicology was never released, and the speculation around what really happened has never stopped. September 1st of 2011, just days after Jay-Z and Beyonce Tilda copyright had announced that they were pregnant, Kathy White would no longer be alive. Pregnant with Jay-Z's baby, about to tell her story, and then gone. Now, here's where this connects to Diddy, because Jaguar has been saying for months that Diddy knows what happened to Kathy White. And she's been saying that Diddy has leverage because of that knowledge. It was also heavily speculated that Kathy White was pregnant with Jay-Z's child at the time of her passing, but with the autopsy never being released, it's not possible for us to confirm that information. If Diddy starts talking about Kathy White, if he starts connecting the dots about what happened to her, everything changes. Jay-Z's entire world comes down. Everything he's built, everyone he's kept silent, all of it comes crashing down, which brings us to the next piece of this puzzle. What's happening to Diddy in prison right now? When Diddy first went to the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, people close to him knew he was walking into danger. The MDC isn't a normal prison. It's a high-rise lockdown facility with a reputation for being exactly what one lawyer called it. But the only thing I'm interested in him talking about is everything he knows about Kathy Coriana White. See, I know you know what happened, Corey. Diddy, I know that. You and Jay-Z down in Vegas at Tao with Claudia. Why don't you just talk about Cassie? That might help. That might help a lot. A former warden named Cameron Lindsay explained that the facility is corrupt, understaffed, dangerous, and it's not a place where someone like Diddy could just blend in. One lawyer for one inmate called it the MDC overcrowded and understaffed hell on earth. Comes his own lawyers called it horrific. Why are conditions so bad there? Diddy was separated from the general population, put in solitary, kept away from other inmates. And the official reason was his safety. His fame made him a target, but then something happened that changed the narrative. He was transferred to FCI Fort Dix in New Jersey, a lower security facility, a place where the expectation was that things would be easier, that the pressure would decrease, that he could actually breathe for a moment. And then came the fight. Unfortunately, however, there has been a disproportionate element of corruption within the ranks of MDC. MHM. And I think that has to do with the number of factors, to include the inability to hold on to the really good staff. Yeah. According to the reports, Diddy got into music, a violent altercation with another inmate. The inmate said something disrespectful. Diddy reacted, fists flew, and then staff separated them. But here's what Jaguar Wright is claiming. That wasn't random. That wasn't just prison drama. That was orchestrated. Sean Diddy Combs has reportedly been put in solitary confinement following a violent prison fight with another inmate. TMZ reporting the fight happened sometime this week inside Fort Dix Federal Prison where he's being held. And she's naming the person who did it, or rather who ordered it. Jaguar has spent years building a case, not in a courtroom, but in the court of public opinion. And the pattern she's identified is devastating. According to her, Jay-Z doesn't just compete with people, he doesn't just outmaneuver them in business, he destroys them, he positions them, he takes them down, and he's been doing this for decades. Each name on that list represents someone who had something Jay-Z wanted: access, catalog, control, legacy. And once he got what he needed, those people were moved out of the way. Now Diddy is on that list, but here's the difference. Diddy can't just disappear. Diddy is already locked up, Diddy can't run. And more importantly, Diddy knows too much about too many people. He lined up DeHaven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life identity and took his love. Lined up RKELLY. He